This is the video demonstration for the body composition worksheet. Here you have your written instructions that you can print out and look at if necessary. Here is the worksheet that you are going to actually be submitting. Note for online students, I know that it's not easy for everyone to get their body fat tested, and it's a challenge for some people, but I'm making this an extra credit assignment because of that. Okay, so start off. Obviously, name, gender, your weight, and your height go into the quarterly cells. Your body fat percentage. You need to get this tested somehow. In the PowerPoint on Chapter 6, there's about 6 different ways that you can assess your body fat percentage. You can get your BMI by doing the mathematical calculations that's also in the PowerPoint inside of Chapter 6. Okay, I gave a sample body fat chart. Your textbook's a little different. There are other agencies that have different classifications. All in all, they're pretty close. A couple of things that you probably want to be aware of for your Chapter 6 work is the essential fat numbers, the minimum necessary requirements. You'll notice that the numbers on the female side are always a little bit higher. That's because it's healthier for females to carry a little bit more body fat, mainly because of the female reproductive system. If you look at the good fitness zones right here, what we're basically telling you is that people that can keep their body fat percentages in these categories for roughly, the majority of their life are probably going to have less health-related illness. They'll probably have less heart disease, less stroke, less cancer, less diabetes, etc., than people in these two categories. And these two categories represent about 2/3 of our population. So what we're trying to do in this assignment is to help you guys find your ideal body weight. I'm just going to take a random number and somebody weighs 150 pounds, and I am going to take a 30% body fat percentage. Now, the reason I chose 30 is because it's too high for the men and it's moderately high for the females. So what you are going to do is simply take those two numbers and multiply them together. And this is going to give you your actual fat weight. This is how much you weigh in body fat. If you weighed less, that number would be less. If you weighed more, that number would be more. If you had a lower body fat percentage, let's say 20%, that would be your number. If you had a higher body fat percentage, that would be your number. But this is the actual amount of fat that we have stored in our adipose tissue throughout our body. Okay, so let's go back to our initial number, and we found how much our fat weight is. Well, let's find out what our non-fat weight is. So again, we're going to take our same body weight. We are going to take our answer from number 1, and now we are going to subtract that number from our body weight, and that gives us our what we call our fat-free mass. When you go through the PowerPoint, we will basically discuss what your fat-free mass is. This is all of your non-fat weight. This is mineral mass, which is things like bone and teeth. These are organ tissues, livers and hearts and kidneys and pancreas, etc. Obviously, we have our muscle mass. We have connective tissue, we have ligaments, we have cartilage, we have discs, we have a variety of different things. So basically, this is all of our living tissue that is not fat. Now, in my face-to-face classes, I jokingly call this the sexy stuff. This is not the stuff that we want to lose. This is the stuff we want to keep. We do not want to lose bone density. We do not want to lose muscle mass. And we do not want to walk around being dehydrated. So if this individual wanted to lose some body weight, we would want to lose it from the 45, not from the 105. So what we're going to do here, the rest of this assignment is to try to help you guys find what is your ideal body weight. Okay? So what we're going to do, we're going to try to keep this 105 in this fictionary example. Okay? What we're going to do is, let's say we're going to choose a body fat percentage of 20%. If you look up at the chart, 20% is on the high side of healthy for a male. It's on the low side of healthy for a female. So a 20% body fat percentage is pretty good for both genders. If you look at it, that would give the rest of our body, or our fat-free mass percentage, would be 80. Now, if you look up in number one, how we got our body fat percentage was by multiplying. So the opposite of multiplying, as we all know, is dividing. So what we're going to do is we're going to take that 105. We're going to keep it. We're going to take this fat-free percentage and we're going to put it as a decimal. And if we divide those two numbers, it's going to tell us what our body fat would be, or excuse me, what our body weight would be if we kept the 105 and only had 20% body fat. So this would be a good goal weight for an individual in this scenario who wanted to be go from 30% down to 20%. All right. So the other example that we'll give you at the very end here is we're going to take what we started, we're going to take where they recommend we go, and if we subtract these two from each other, this tells us that we should set a goal to try to lose about 18 pounds of body fat. Okay, and again, the chapter 6, chapter 8, and chapter 9 will help us with that. I get the question every once in a while. There are a few people on the low side of body fat. If you are on the low side of body fat and you don't have a whole lot to lose, just for the math, pick a different number. Maybe it'll tell you you can even gain 4 or 5 pounds if you're in a really low number. Let's say, for example, maybe you were a female and you were 15. Well, put down, 18 and see that you can actually put on a few pounds of body fat if you want to and still be in a relatively safe percentage. Point being, I need to grade everybody on doing the math all the way through. Okay? Hope this helps. Have any questions? Let me know.